Dear class, good night and thank you so much for all your participation in this discussion board. I spent all the afternoon reading your answers and I must confess I really had a good time. I enjoyed reading through them and I can see that I'm going to have a very hard time grading you since you are very smart students. Now many of you had your facts right. Verizon, as you pointed out, was the relevant incumbent in the telecoms market. This meaning that in the past it held an exclusive franchise to serve as a local exchange carrier in the state of New York. In 1996, the Telecoms Act was passed and imposed certain unbundling obligations on those local incumbents. This meaning that they had the burden to share their networks with competitors. Following these obligations, in this case, Verizon had to sign interconnection agreements with competitors such as AT&T. It is relevant to note here that since AT&T and Verizon could not agree on certain terms of that agreement, they were subject to mandatory arbitration under the regulation. Bear this in mind as we will discuss mandatory arbitrations in the future. Now, two regulators came into play. One was the New York Public Service Commission at a state level. The other, the Federal Communications Commission at a federal level. This latter intervened as Verizon wanted to enter the long-distance market, and so that was a federal competence. Now, after this obligation, many rivals complained that Verizon was not complying with its duty to share the network. So what happened, as you rightly pointed out, was that it was subject to monetary sanctions by the two regulatory bodies. And after that, a local law office, that of Trinko, wanted to sue under the Sherman Act to seek damages and injunction relief. What most interests me of this case is the distinction that the United States Supreme Court draws between antitrust law and regulation. Antitrust law applies in general terms as a means of protecting the markets against anti-competitive behavior. But the Supreme Court underlines how this application must be restrictive. It is, as some of you rightly pointed out, a typical civil remedy against an anti-competitive behavior. As opposed to this approach, regulation intervenes as a way of administrative intervention in the market. Remedies are different. They do not only operate ex post, as in antitrust law, but rather, as we saw in previous sessions, they are a form of sustained and focused control over a certain activity that follows all the activity from the beginning, during the development of the activity, and after, maybe imposing sanctions, as in this case. Regulation has a different approach, and I would like you to see the document that I will be uploading now to underline some of those differences between antitrust and administrative regulation. I hope you have an excellent night, those of you here in Madrid, and we will see each other tomorrow. Thank you very much for your participation, and I hope you enjoyed the case. Thank you.